This is the Ohio State Bowl Preview Show, presented by Roosters, a fun casual joint, and by Burger King, and brought to you statewide by the American Dairy Association Mideast and Cova Insurance, Window Nation, and by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics. Now, along with former OSU All-American Jim Lachey and the voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels, here's your host, Skip Mosic.
And hi again, everybody. Welcome to our Cotton Bowl preview show as Ohio State gets set to face Texas in a CFP semifinal Friday night in Arlington, joined as always by former OSU All-American, NFL All-Pro, Jim Lachey. How are you?
So happy to be doing roundtables this time of the year.
No doubt about that. Longtime voice of the Buckeyes, Paul Keels. This is the ball that you throw, the oblong ball, not the round one that you bounce, okay?
I was going to ask if you've thought out for Minneapolis yet.
No, not at all. Jam-packed couple of hours. We will chat coming up with Craig Way, voice of the Texas Longhorns, Tim May of Letterman Row, Adam Rittenberg from ESPN with some national perspective on the two semifinal games, Steve Jones, voice of the Nittany Lions with a Penn State Notre Dame preview, and Bill Rabinowitz of the Columbus Dispatch. That's all coming up on our bowl preview show this evening. It's the first time, guys, we've had a chance to chat on air since the Rose Bowl and Ohio State's dominant 41-21 win over Oregon. The most impressive thing in that game was what, Paul?
I would have to say the defense, the way they corralled an Oregon offense that had just been laying waste to people for most part during the course of the season. Yes, the great start by the offense was notable, but the way the defense choked the Ducks off was very significant.
Jim?
I would say the fast start, and that's kind of what, the defense led to that. But the offense going down there, having a three-play drive, getting in the end zone, another short drive, getting in the end zone. A longer drive, got a field goal, before he even kind of, got settled in their seats. It was 17-0, and then that increased to 34-0, right before half, before Oregon was able to find some points there in that 2-minute drive. But just the fast starts. I mean, it's 2 weeks, two bowl games, I should say, or two playoff games in a row that they came out and started really fast.
Besides that fast start, Paul brought up the defense, Jim. Ohio State's defense was smothering. The Ducks got, the late score to close the first half, but man, what Ohio State did to them on that side of the ball was just as dominating as what the offense did.
They had 13 sacks all year, and they gave up 8 against Ohio State. And I think that they, the last 6 of those sacks came in the first couple of weeks when they were, had some issues on their offensive line. And then, after that, they had 7 sacks basically in 11 ball games. And, Ohio State was able to get that in one game. But came from all different angles. Obviously, Cody Simon a couple. Jack Sawyer been playing lights out. Jalen Tuimoloau just getting his thing done. Our 2 defensive tackles inside. Took a lot of guys to contribute to get that done, and they did.
Paul, the most common question we received the last week or so is, not that Ohio State ever played poorly, but offensively, where's this been?
Especially in the last game of the regular season, where was this? And I think we saw what happened there. It was a lot of majoring in the run, running right into the strength of Michigan's defensive line, but getting the ball to the playmakers, showing some new twists like G. Scott on that first play coming out of the backfield and catching the ball down the sideline. So, but it seems to be, Skip, there's kind of a combination of thoughts on this, that this team is playing hacked off because of what happened against the Wolverines, and also playing a little carefree because who expected them to explode the way they did? Very few.
Yeah, for the most of the year, they're running outside zone type plays. And these last 2 games, they've been running a lot of counter action. And, when I say counter, that means you have 2 backside pullers, so it's either going to be the guard, usually the guard all the time, tackle or tight end will be one of those pullers. And then you got gap blocks you're blocking down, so you got the inside man inside, and, you make sure one guy comes off for the linebacker. So it's simplified a little bit, but it allows them to be aggressive, come off the ball. And I think our guys have really taken advantage of this newfound offense that we're running right now with the gap scheme and the counter scheme, and the play action off of that, which has been so impressive.
Friday night, it's Ohio State and Texas in a CFP semifinal at the Cotton Bowl. We'll be on the air from Arlington with the AEP Energy Buckeye pregame show beginning at 6 p.m. Up next, more on the matchup with the Longhorns as our Cotton Bowl preview show continues.
This hour of our bowl preview show is presented by Burger King on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
When you share your food, you share your heart. So what's on your table this holiday season? Save on your festive feast at Kroger with delicious deals on all the holiday classics. Or wow the crowd with something new, like a quinoa stuffed butternut squash. It's sure to add a pop of color to your spread. How about a sweet potato casserole with a crunchy oat streusel topping, made with care for the sweet tooth and the savory tooth? With Kroger, fill your table with love and watch as your guests' hearts get as full as their bellies. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Ohio State championship quarterback Cardale Jones.
As a child, I had the same hopes and dreams as other children. I just didn't have the same resources to achieve them, but I found the help I needed to be my best. I was a CareSource kid. CareSource is so much more than Medicaid. They help families overcome a lot of their day-to-day struggles, and that made a lasting difference in the lives of kids like me.
CareSource, your Medicaid, your choice. Visit caresource.com/Medicaid.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
When you're here, you understand what it means to be a Buckeye. And at Elk & Elk, we're proud to wear scarlet and gray every Saturday. Every client, every day means if you're ever injured, we're proud to stand with you in court. And when you're here at the shoe, we're proud to stand with you and cheer on the Buckeyes.
Whether we're here at the big game or in court, we are committed to you.
Elk & Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations, in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Buckeye football lives here. The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's bowl preview show presented by Burger King and by Roosters with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Buckeyes are known for paying it forward. That's why Buckeyes Care strives to serve the betterment of our community by positively impacting families across Ohio. Joint partners American Electric Power, Donato's, Kroger, the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the James Cancer Hospital, Huntington Bank, and WBNS TV in Columbus in supporting this cause at ohiostatebuckeyes.com/Buckeyes Care. Again, Ohio State and Texas coming up Friday night in the Cotton Bowl. 500 yards of offense for Ohio State in the Rose against a really good Oregon team. What has Texas, though, shown you guys from their defense in regard to slowing down this, what we've seen from this Ohio State offense recently?
Well, first off, Skip, the way they take the ball away from people, you know, they 21 interceptions, 30 turnovers. And much like Ohio State, they can bring pressure from all points. Their defensive line, and they play deep on their defensive line. Their linebackers are very active. So it's a team that can really set a tone defensively.
Yeah, and then you look at their defensive backs. This is probably one of the best defensive backfields, you know, in the country now. Best in America. Our guys like to say that for Ohio State secondary. But, you know, these guys will get it done. And as Paul mentioned, 21 interceptions. That's rare air. You don't, you know, considering Ohio State has 9, you know, that's just finding a way to take the ball away, and they've been able to do that. And again, you know, it happens when you have pass rush, and they've been able to do that. You know, they've got 44 sacks on the year, so they've been able to get some pressure. 108 tackle for losses, so they've been living in the backfield. But, you know, got some good players up front. Alfred Collins, the defensive tackle, is a big dude. Trey Moore, and then, you know, the Colin Simmons, the freshman of the year, has got 9 sacks. So, you know, he's a guy that's got a fast twitch body at 6'3", 245, but, So that's going to be a guy that's kind of like an Abdul Carter, but maybe just a little bit bigger, a little bit faster, if you can believe that.
I want to say they've only allowed 23 first-half points in the last 7 games. So, I mean, obviously they've been really picking things up on that side of the ball, especially in the first half.
They really have. And also, they're tied with Ohio State for the fewest touchdown passes allowed in a season. 4. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. So they've been able to really have some good success. And consider this is a team that had to turn over after losing some people to the pros.
Texas, like Ohio State recently, has really gotten off to fast starts to begin games as well. I mean, what might both defenses, what Ohio State defensively is preparing for?
Well, here's the quandary with Texas on offense. Against Clemson, they ran the ball incredibly successful, almost 300 yards rushing. But then against Arizona State, ran for 53 yards. So they've got guys that have shown the ability to make big plays running the ball, but they didn't. And the other thing, too, they use their tight end as kind of their key wide receiver. And the guy that maybe most people are familiar with, Isaiah Bond, who transferred from Alabama, was a non-factor in that game against Arkansas State. So an experienced offense. They're one of the few in the country that have had 5 offensive linemen that have started every game this year. So they've got some key pieces there, but they can be a little schizophrenic.
Yeah, I think if you look at the right tackle, Cameron Williams, everybody talks about him as being a high draft pick. A little bit nicked up with a knee injury, so he's his status is still, I think he'll play, but how good we'll find out. Jake Majors, our center, he's done a really good job. Kelvin Banks Jr., their left tackle, has been very, very effective. And, obviously their quarterback, Quinn Ewers, we were familiar with him from his time at Ohio State, his brief time here at Ohio State.
2 plays.
He's found, went back home and, it's starting to work out for him there at Texas. And then Arch Manning, right? I mean, we've heard enough about him. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to mix him in there every once in a while.
Offensively for Ohio State, we've seen a concerted effort to get the ball to the playmakers early, specifically Jeremiah Smith. How has doing so really opened up the running game for Ohio State? I mean, Henderson 96, Judkins 85 against Oregon.
No question it has, Skip, and I think, and we talked about that first big play to G. Scott, but also the throw to Emeka Egbuka on that touchdown, the throw and the catch were both things of beauty. So now that we've seen them do that, something they didn't do against Michigan successfully, that certainly has opened the eyes of the opposing defense of everything they have to pay attention to. And really, this kind of fits what everybody thought Ohio State would be at the beginning of the season with the 2 tailbacks, big-time running ability, throwing the threat of Will Howard tucking and running the football, but then spreading the ball out to those receivers. It's kind of got the heads on a swivel.
Yeah, that throw to Emeka Egbuka was perfect. I mean, he threw it right in there, and it was a heck of a catch. It ended up being a one-handed catch. He had to kind of trap it against his body and then found a way to get in the end zone. But Jeremiah Smith, they dared him. Hey, cover me, 101. I dare you. And they did, and he took advantage of it. And they did a good job. Chip Kelly, Ryan Day, offense coaches moving him around to put him in position where he can make plays. And that's something that you have to continue to do because why is the running game better? Well, if Jeremiah's, getting double, triple coverage, that's going to leave a couple guys that can't defend, can't get their hats in the box to defend against the run. And Quinshon Judkins looks fresh. Travion Henderson, he had a 66-yarder in that game. He looks fresh as a daisy. All year long, they're going back and forth with reps. 124 attempts for Travion. Quinshon has like 175. They're used to almost twice that, you know what I mean? And so they've been keeping these guys fresh for these moments in the playoffs, and it's paid off, and it's going to have to pay off again against Texas.
We mentioned it briefly, but Ohio State's defense really got after Oregon, sacking Dylan Gabriel 8 times, something I'm sure they weren't anticipating. Texas's O-line is stout, anchored by Kelvin Banks, Lombardi, and Outland-Witter. What must Ohio State do to offset that big Texas O-line?
Probably show different things and potential blitzes coming from different places. We've seen in the past for some of the DBs, and Caleb Downs has been a guy that's done some of that, Jordan Hancock. If they can show it coming from different areas, that maybe adds to the confusion because we've seen what the 2 defensive ends have done with the way they've played. But if it can come from other places, even Cody Simon, the way he's been able to get back there and make plays behind the line, that certainly goes along.
You're going to have to move guys around. You see him, shifting up between a 4-man line to a 3-man line, getting different matchups. Jack and JT moving from side to side. That's going to have to continue. And having that extra guy like Cody Simon on the blitz where he can come through and have the ability to get to quarterback right now. I mean, he's been on fire the second half of the season, almost a leading tackler in every ball game. And really since Northwestern, getting a lot of pressure to quarterback. Indiana, he was stout in that game, and he's been stout these last couple games. It's going to have to come from different guys. Some guys aren't going to get blocked. I mean, that's football. Right. But other guys are going to have to step up.
As a big old lineman, what do you think of Banks? I mean, that kid's a heck of a football player.
Huge. I mean, he's got good feet. He's 6'5", 6'5", 320 pounds, 6'4", so he moves his feet well. He takes good pass sets, and he's physical, and that's what you want to see out of an offensive tackle. And, he's been playing some really good football for him.
You guys mentioned Quinn Ewers. It's obviously an interesting story, having started his college career at Ohio State. What has he shown you specifically? And I guess, is he comparable to anyone Ohio State's already seen?
I don't know about that.
Besides at practice a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I have to think about that. The thing that he's shown is the ability. They haven't done it a lot lately, but the ability to really stretch the football. He's gotten himself in a position where he's high up in the Texas records as far as 300-yard passing games and things like that. He is a threat to run a little bit. He got a running touchdown in the game against Arizona State, but more than anything else, when you watch some of them play, and watching the Arizona State game now a couple of times, he just looks so darn comfortable back there.
Yeah, I think he's just got a couple touchdowns on the year, so that's something he don't want to do a lot, but he has the capability of doing it. He's got a quick release. I mean, he flicks his wrist and the ball's out of there, and he can throw it far. And, if anything, Steve Sarkisian, the head coach, kind of, goes to one read, two reads, and then boom, that ball's out. So he doesn't hold on to it too long. So you got to make sure our defensive backs are glued in and can take away those first and second reads so that he can't get to him. And, kind of what you did to Dylan Gabriel. I mean, we saw him. He was fantastic against us the first game. Second go-around, not so good because they took away those first reads. And he had to hang in that pocket. And once you have to hang in that pocket a little bit longer, that's a pass rusher's best friend. You can find ways to get home. You can't pass block forever. And if he's just going to stay in the pocket, you have to have the ability to get to him. And, last game Ohio State did. That's going to have to be something that, if you put on that film, if you're a Texan offensive line, that's a horror show. I mean, you're watching that like, oh my goodness, and either it's going to make you go out there and prepare like you've never prepared before, or it's going to have some doubt in your head, and it's going to work one way or the other. But I expect our guys to duplicate that. And I don't know if we'll get 8 sacks, but I think we got to get pressure on the quarterback, get some knockdowns, and get some incompletions as a result.
Jim, on the flip side, the Ohio State O-line has been talked about a lot in regards to injuries, guys moving around. What has that unit done well the last couple of games that maybe even surprised you a little bit?
Well, Jonathan Jackson, making that transition to left tackle was really settled in and has done a heck of a job. He's graded high. And, again, he's just such a good athlete. And we saw that at guard, but now you're seeing a little bit more because he's out there on the edge. What he can do, he takes good pass sets, uses his hands, he's physical, he can dance with guys in there. And then you saw the guys, the guard situation, which we're, now playing 3 guys with Tegra, Austin, and Luke Montgomery, kind of rotating in there at different spots. So they've kind of settled that down, put some fires out that we had against Michigan. Of course, Michigan, with Grant and Graham, caused a lot of those issues. And, good football players will do that. And then I think you're seeing Carson Hitzman start to settle down a little bit inside. And they're playing well.
Paul, it's bizarre when you look at the final 4 teams remaining, no conference champions, no teams that receive first-round buys. Is the CFP maybe opening eyes, maybe in previous years that, heck, the better team maybe wasn't in the playoff before?
Well, Skip, there's a lot to be said about the fact that probably those teams that had to play in the opening round, they were able to gain some rhythm. Now, you've got some that did play in their conference championship games, but you're talking about teams that played at home. So they played in comfortable settings. They were able to kind of get rolling that way. And maybe it also tells us, too, that there's not that much difference between those teams that had the buys and the ones that didn't.
Yeah, and you got to get hot at the right time, and Ohio State has gotten hot, very hot these last 2 ball games, and that's going to have to continue. Obviously, if you want to win a national championship, you got to go through 4 teams. This used to be, do 2 games max. Back in the BCS, it was 1 game. Now there's so many.
It's like the NFL playoffs. This is what we talking about before.
Wild card, and then,
a wild card team gets hot.
Yes, it does. It happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. More on the Longhorns. The voice of the Longhorns, Craig Way, will talk some Texas with us next as our Cotton Bowl preview show continues.
This hour of our bowl preview show is presented by Burger King on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at SafeLight.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Ready?
It doesn't matter if you're playing hard or working hard. Your workout only works out if you recover right. Chocolate milk helps you recover for what comes next. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles. From biking to bench presses, Milk's protein helps you build lean muscle and gain more from your workouts.
Ready, recover, repeat. Brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get one juicy flame grilled Whopper sandwich, one original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
When you share your food, you share your heart. So what's on your table this holiday season? Save on your festive feast at Kroger with delicious deals on all the holiday classics. Or wow the crowd with something new, like a quinoa stuffed butternut squash. It's sure to add a pop of color to your spread. How about a sweet potato casserole with a crunchy oat streusel topping, made with care for the sweet tooth and the savory tooth? With Kroger, fill your table with love and watch as your guests' hearts get as full as their bellies. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. The Fan. Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Bowl Preview show presented by Burger King and by Roosters, along with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Buckeye fans, power up and carbon down with AEP Energy and Eco Advantage, their 100% renewable energy plan for your home or business. Visit aepenergy.com/OSU to get started. AEP Energy is the official electricity and natural gas sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Again, it's Ohio State and Texas Friday night in the Cotton Bowl in Arlington. Craig Way joins us now. Craig, voice of the Longhorns. And Craig, when you look at this matchup, one thing that kind of stands out is the fast starts that both teams have really enjoyed. Is that one of the more intriguing things that you're looking for and seeing Friday?
Yeah, I think so, Skip. I think it depends on, I'm real interested in the coin toss to see what option it serves, because these two teams have gotten off the fast starts. Even in the Peach Bowl, when Texas won the toss and deferred the option, Arizona State got the ball, and the Longhorns had a running into the kicker call, which kept the drive alive, and they had one 15-yard penalty, and it led to Arizona State getting a field goal to go up 3-0, but then it took the Longhorns 41 seconds and 2 plays to go 77 yards, and then after they got the 3-and-out, then they got the punt return, so it all worked out. But I'm wondering if we might see a situation where the team that wins the toss might opt to take the football to see if they can continue the fast starts.
Craig, it's been so long since we've spoken to one another. Maybe 48 hours.
I'm with you, Big Daddy. I'm with you.
How do you try and make sense out of the fact that this team rushed so well against Clemson and then it was a little less easy against Arizona State?
Yeah, and you're being kind, a little less. 53 yards is more than a little less for sure. I think it was a variety of things. One, they were a man down on the offensive line. Cam Williams, the right tackle. Now, I would tell you this. that of the guys along the offensive front, if you had to point to one and say, hey, if one of these guys has to be out of the lineup for a game, it probably would have been Cam, because they have some flexibility there. And Trevor Gooseby has rotated in and out. He had to go in when Kelvin Banks was banged up against Texas A&M. So that was some of it, but I don't think that was in large measure a lot of it. Hearing Sark talk about it, there were some run fits. They just did not do well offensively. And I'll give Arizona State credit. They had some headhunters there, not like what I think the Longhorns will encounter from the Buckeyes, front seven, but still they had some guys who were good in putting themselves in position. And I think also the Longhorns put themselves into some unenviable positions where they were trying to run the football. So I think it was a variety of things. No one thing stood out. And I think that's why Sark said there were things to what his coaches love to say. They say clean up. They had some clean-up things that they were trying to work on in the first part of this week before heading up to Arlington today.
Hey, Craig, it just seems like Pete Kwiatkowski he's in charge of that defense, and they'd kind of leave him be and just let him run that defense, and it seems like those guys responded. You know, when you look at the takeaways, 21 interceptions, the fumbles they've been able to force, getting pressure on the quarterback, they're good on third downs. They got a lot of respect for him, and it seems like the players respond to him.
You're right, Jim, and they are in lockstep. Sark and PK, they've been together for a lot of it. Certainly, they were together up at UW when they were in Washington together. And then Kenny Baker, the defensive line coach who was added this year, stepped in, has also really spiked up what those front 4, 5, 6 guys, because they rotate them pretty regularly. But I think it's seen additional production out of them, which in turn has made the secondary better. The secondary, I think, was like 116th against the pass last year. They didn't have quite all the same personnel. Obviously, Andrew Makuba coming back home, transferring in from Clemson was a big part of it. But there was a growth process for Manny Muhammad on one corner, and then Jaden Gilbo was hurt a lot last year. So having Gilbo back, I think, helps out a little bit. Gavin Holmes has gotten a little bit better. So they've developed some depth in the back in the secondary, but that was always helped by what the front guys were doing on the defensive line, and PK and Kenny Baker had a lot to do with that.
You know, speaking of coaches, Craig, I saw in the game notes, Texas is the only Power 4 program that's had the same head coach and both coordinators for 4 years. That's got to speak to the appeal that Steve Sarkisian has.
Yeah, I think so, and those guys know each other so well. They've been around each other so long. Remember when Sark was at Alabama, that's when Kyle Flood was with him there, and he brought Kyle Flood with him to Austin. Somebody asked Kyle Flood, I can't remember if it was going into the Clemson game or the Arizona State game. Might have been Arizona State, into the Peach Bowl. Somebody asked Kyle, hey, do you want to be a head coach? And he was like, I'm not even thinking about that stuff right now. He said, I love what I'm doing. I love being a part of this group and everything. And you know how it is with coordinators. Successful programs, the coordinators will be found by other programs looking for a head coach, and maybe those things are down the line. But I believe Kyle Flood when I hear him. Those guys are so dialed in, he and PK. He said the same thing. PK was asked the same question, and he said, I'm just kind of dialing in on getting ready for this bowl game this week. He said those kinds of things are flattering, and you hear more of them after the end of the year. He said, but I'm not thinking about that stuff right now.
I think Coach Flood's last head job was at Rutgers.
At Rutgers, and it didn't end well.
It didn't end well, no. And again, we like him a lot. He was a heck of a guy, and he was good to us. And a heck of a football coach. I liked him because he remembered how I played against the Giants all the times when I was in the NFL, so I really appreciated him. But, looking at your offensive line, you talked about the big guys, Banks and Williams and Jake Majors. That group's been together, and that's so important, unlike Ohio State, who's lost, the Remington Award winner and potentially Josh Simmons against Oregon. They lost him. He's potentially a first-round draft pick at left tackle. They've been able to, do it, but you guys have been able to stay relatively healthy, and that's been the key to protecting Quinn Ewers.
I'm really impressed with both methods and the way it's worked, Jim, because, yes, it's a veteran offensive front. They returned all but one guy who was a regular starter from last year. Christian Jones kind of swapped in and out there with Williams and a couple of the other guys, but of guys who were in the regular rotation, if not starting, they brought everybody else back. And during the course of the year, even when Quinn Ewers got banged up and he had the oblique and the ankle, and of course they lost 2 running backs in fall camp and all this, Sark was continually asked about overcoming injuries. And at the time, and he would always knock on wood if it were nearby, and he would say, fortunately, none of our offensive linemen have really been banged up. Well, that changed when it got late in the year in the A&M game with Calvin Banks and then Cam Williams getting hurt. So it did change. But then again, I think we all expected, you're not going to play 16 games and not have, they're going into game 16. You're not going to play 15 games and not expect that you're going to have some injuries. So that's one side of it. And then you can't help but be impressed with what the Buckeyes have done by being able to plug guys in who are game ready and who had enough reps in practice and understand, even though they might be going in for highly decorated guys, to go in and perform at the level it takes for the Buckeyes to be as successful as they've been on offense.
What's worked for Quinn Ewers, Craig?
He's just, you and I were talking about this the other day. I used the word constant level lake. He's really unflappable for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is you almost have to take his pulse, make sure he's alive sometimes. He's just so low key. Nice kid, great guy. And I called his big game when he was playing in the state championship game when he was going up against Westlake when they lost, when he had right before he committed to the Buckeyes and left for Ohio State. But he's just real low key. And I know when he was in Columbus, he was trying to learn. He was trying to learn from C.J. Stroud. He was trying to learn from Coach Day. He was trying to learn from all those guys. But he's always been a real low key guy. So that never panic thing. He's got that gene in him. Obviously, he needed that on that 4th and 13 pass to Golden to keep the game alive the other day. When he's healthy, he's really, really good, and I think we saw that in the game in Tuscaloosa last year. There's games where when he has been healthy against Michigan, he's really good, but he has been really banged up this year. The oblique thing and then the ankle. Last week was the first week where the ankle felt close to normal. Hopefully it feels a little more close to normal this week for him, because when he is right physically, he can be pretty effective on the field.
Greg, last thing, obviously, I'm sure there was disappointment in not winning the SEC championship game. But that being said, you have to think Texas is ecstatic on how this path is aligned, not only just to reach this point, to be able to play this game where it's being played at.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, Skip, because there was a lot of speculation that if they had won the SEC championship, and then had been the 2 seed and had Oregon been able to beat Ohio State, then Texas would have been playing in the Orange Bowl. Oregon being geographically closer. That was what the College Football Playoff Committee folks said. Things happen for a reason, I guess. And, yeah, they were disappointed they didn't win the SEC. They were disappointed they've now lost twice to Georgia. But, all that's past now. I'm as fascinated as I guess you guys are how the 5, 6, 7, and 8 seeds all won to get to the Final Four, and none of the ones who got byes advanced. I don't know if it is an advantage. I know some folks are saying that, and maybe it calls for reseeding or however they want to do it. But it is pretty interesting. Sark said, I know this. We played 15 games, and I feel the wear and tear. But still, there's something to be said for getting that home playoff game, and you guys know that as well, kind of getting your feet under you before you head to the next round.
Craig Way, voice of the Longhorns. Craig, we appreciate your time. We'll see you up there on Friday, okay?
Look forward to seeing you guys in Jerry World.
There you go. Craig Way joins us again on our Cotton Bowl preview show. Craig, of the Texas Sports Network from Learfield. Up next, we will hear comments from Ohio State coach Ryan Day as our bowl preview show continues.
This hour of our bowl preview show is presented by Burger King on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
Hey, Buckeye Nation, Paul Keels here for my other favorite nation, Window Nation. If you're a fan of scoring, you're going to love this. Window Nation is going nuts with an incredible offer just for you. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free plus 0 down and 0 payments with 0 interest for 2 years. And if you order a full house of windows, you'll be part of a full house at the Shoe with tickets to a Buckeye game. Call Window Nation today at 866-90-NATION or visit them online at windownation.com. Tell them Paul sent you for the Buckeyes Full House Special.
As the official hot dog of Ohio State Athletics, Sugardale is dedicated to delicious. Whether you're cheering on the Buckeyes at the game or grilling at your home tailgate, you can count on Sugardale to score a touchdown. Made right here in Ohio for more than 100 years, Sugardale has always taken a personal approach to making great-tasting, high-quality meats. Look for Sugardale hot dogs, bacon, ham, and more at your local grocery store.
Don't stress over your holiday shopping list. Make gifting fun with Bob's Discount Furniture instead. Holiday the Bob's way and shop incredible values on tons of great gifts for every style and budget. Because at Bob's, you can score everything from stylish decor to feature-packed power sofas. Even gift cards for those hard-to-shop-for family members. So stop by or visit mybobs.com and holiday the Bob's way. Proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
From the first one born in the USA to the tens of millions that followed, from the American highways to the NASCAR race days, more people have counted on their Camrys than any other car for over 22 years. And now, Camry is even better. It's all hybrid all the time to be more efficient yet powerful, with available all-wheel drive for the capability to go wherever you want to go in style and comfort. For the latest offers, go to Toyota.com and make your own history. Toyota, let's go places.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at Safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Your home for Ohio State Athletics. The Fan. You're listening to the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everyone, to our bowl preview show presented by Burger King and by Roosters with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Get Ohio State and Texas coming up Friday night in the Cotton Bowl. Time to hear some comments from head coach Ryan Day right now. His comments are presented by Kroger, and Coach Day saying this team is peaking at the right time.
Same guys in a room as was there a month ago. You know, nothing that's happened in the past or really the noise that's around the building has anything to do with our preparation and our focus and our process. And that's what we've been diving into. You know, we don't need any extra motivation to win this game, but one thing that does motivate our team is an opportunity for the team to play for another week together. And, you know, this is a great group of guys that cares a lot about each other, have fun with each other, they love competing with each other. You can see the passion on the field when they get on the field. You know, I think the way that this format is and the way the playoffs are set now, it allows us an opportunity to grow as a team and to learn and to get better and to peak late in the season. And so I think we've learned a lot about our team. I think we've grown a lot as a team. And, you know, we're banking on this to be our best football of the season.
And again, we touched on it earlier, but the fast starts, and Coach Day saying those fast starts are great, but they aren't enough.
Both games we've started off with the ball and we've gone right down and scored. And so execution fuels emotion, and that certainly has a big part of it. They go together. We've executed well on those first couple drives, and that's had a big part of it. Defensive got some 3 and outs early in the game, and we've been able to jump on the last 2 opponents. But we also know that when we get into halftime, we got to go play in the second half. You know, we didn't do a great job of handling the middle 8 in this past game, and so we got to get that fixed. The issues are always there. You come out of a game like this, it's easy to say, well, you know, everything was great. It wasn't great. You know, there was a lot of things that we got to get better at if we're going to beat Texas.
I guess the question, guys, is can Ohio State continue that fast start that what we've seen when they faced the Longhorns on Friday?
Well, considering the fact that you're moving further into the playoffs, you have to operate the fact that the talent is going to be upgraded. And we talked about some of Texas' defensive numbers and what they've done. So you've got to think it's going to be that much more difficult. But again, we go back to how a couple of plays early in the Oregon game sets the tone. If they're able to hit a couple of them like that, that could set a positive tone.
Yeah, I mean, again, fast starts is what everybody dreams of, is coming out like that and, putting points on the board and your defense getting 3 and outs, forcing them to punt. And it was just good complementary football played by Ohio State. I mean, Oregon, number 1 team in the country, lost them by 1 point at their place. And, I think our guys had that chip on their shoulder that going into that they were going to take care of business, and they did. They come out with that same attitude. They're going to be hard to stop. I mean, because that's what it's all about. But, every opponent's a little bit different. It all comes down to this week preparation. I had a chance to go to practice this week, and, those guys are working hard. And you can tell, as Coach said, they're a team that wants to stay together. They want to keep this thing going, and the only way to keep it going is to keep winning.
Craig Way brought this up last segment about first-round buys, and Coach Day saying not having that first-round buy allows a team to create some momentum.
We've talked here in this room about, going back and watching some of the old NFL teams and winning that first wild card game and then getting some momentum into the playoffs and continuing to play. There's been evidence of that throughout, the NFL playoffs, because there really has never been a college football playoffs like this before. So you go back on, things that you can best compare to. And so I did feel like if we could get a good win in the first game, we could build momentum. Now, it's our job to keep momentum. We have it right now, but that doesn't mean anything if we don't keep it. So, we'll continue with our process. These games are coming fast. They're not bowl games. They're just like game weeks. And it'll be the same thing there. We get in on Wednesday night, and then we play the game on Friday. So it'll be a quick turnaround, and we'll, again, focus on our process.
Jim, you're the only one that can reference as far as what he's talking about in regards to the NFL playoff week after week after week, and heck, he made it all the way to the Super Bowl.
No, I mean, to get into playoffs as a wild card, yeah, you'll take that. But the goal in the NFL is to get that home field advantage. Sure. And that's what you want, is to have all your games at home until you have to travel for the Super Bowl. It's a little bit different than college because they have this bowl set up and things like that. If they were played on campus, and you want to make sure you wrapped up that home field advantage so you could take advantage of that with your your fans and stuff. But it just depends on your team too. In the NFL is a little bit different. You have guys that are 8, 9, 10-year guys, and they might need a week or two rest, to get their body back, to get everybody healthy, and then get out there and go. They're a little bit more mature about this. Sometimes in college football you get 20 days off. Your team can go one way or the other. Coach Day and the staff has done a great job keeping these guys all focused. And they had to be, after coming off that tough loss against Michigan, they knew that they had to, to get that bad taste out of their mouth, they had to take care of business. I mean, Coach was fighting for his job. You remember how bad it was 2 weeks ago, or 2 games ago, that whole week coming in. So it's just a little bit different attitude, but they can't lose that hunger that this team has. And that led into these 2 victories. They got to keep that hate going, that anger, whatever it takes, whatever word you want to put. They got to keep it going right now because that's what's fueled them so far.
Ohio State's 3-1, I want to say, Paul, at AT&T Stadium there in Arlington. And
last year,
Coach Day talks about the previous wins at Jerry World, saying they don't mean a thing.
There's a lot of history there, and I don't think that really has anything to do with anything, quite honestly. We got to go play on the field, but it's a great venue. We've had a lot of great games there, and I know we have great fans, in the Dallas area and throughout Texas, and so we know it's going to be a great atmosphere.
And, Paul, that's one thing. I mean, it's a football stadium, but at the same time, they are familiar. They were just there, 12 months or so ago. A lot of the guys have been in that building before, so it's not like unfamiliar territory.
No, not at all. And I imagine if this team is adapting the moniker of wanting to play angry because of Michigan, maybe they should remember that Missouri game last year and play angry because of that. And, also remember, too, Ryan Day, one of the games that he was the acting head coach was a win over TCU in that stadium. So there were some crazy things that happened in that game. Devon Hamilton with a fumble recovery for the touchdown. The fake play where TCU had a guy fall down in the end zone, and Ryan Day even admitted they were looking for security to make sure something bad hadn't happened to the young man. So he also told the story about when he went to go grab a hat to go out there. He grabbed a scarlet hat rather than a black one, and somebody stopped him and said, no, Woody Hayes always wore the black hat, so that's why he keeps wearing the black ball cap.
And they lost Nick Bosa the first series of the third quarter. Right. I mean, and, one of the top defensive ends in the country, you lose him, and that was like, that was tough to overcome. But you're right. familiarity is probably more for the quarterback, where the play clocks are, the things like that, those little things. And Will Howard, fortunately, he's played more at AT&T Stadium than any of our guys. So that's got that in the bank, and he's going to have to take, he's never beat Texas. So he's got that anger, and he's going to have to spread that to the other guys.
Coming up, we will head down to Texas once again. Tim May of Letterman Row will join us next as tonight's bowl preview show continues.
This hour of our bowl preview show is presented by Burger King on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Buckeye fans. Union Home Mortgage's 1% down payment program is like kicking an extra point or scoring a 2-point conversion. You put 1% down, and Union Home Mortgage will kick in up to 2% on the house. Visit UHM.com or call 877-846-4968 today. Union Home Mortgage Corp is an equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 2229. UHM will contribute up to 2% down, no greater than $2,000 towards the 3% down payment. Home buyers responsible for the remainder of the down payment. This offer is available for the purchase of a primary residence only. For full terms and conditions, visit UHM.com.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get one juicy flame grilled Whopper sandwich, one original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership just got even better. Now you can choose from Disney Plus with ads, Hulu with ads, or ESPN Plus on us when you sign up. Plus, enjoy unlimited free delivery, double fuel points, exclusive offers, and free items. Sign up for a Boost membership today. It's an easier way to save, including new streaming options to relax with while we deliver your groceries. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
When it comes to all-wheel drive vehicles, nobody gives you more to choose from than Toyota.
With 25 different choices that'll have you ready for anything, including the new all-hybrid best-selling Camry, the adventurous best-selling RAV4, the best-selling, more powerful Tacoma,
And the newest member of the Crown family, the Toyota Crown Signia.
all come with the traction you need for confident driving.
Any road, any weather. Toyota all-wheel drive.
The more you know, the more you'll drive Toyota.
Let's go places.
When it comes to your cancer diagnosis, the choice for your care is clear.
And when you choose the James at Ohio State,
you're opting for care from a highly specialized team dedicated to treating one type of cancer, yours.
A team that studies the unique makeup of your disease to develop a personalized treatment plan.
You're choosing our region's only comprehensive cancer center designated by the National Cancer Institute.
For your cancer care, the choice is clear. The James at Ohio State.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, to our bowl preview show. It's presented by Burger King. Visit your local BK restaurant to grab your $20 Buckeye Blitz bundle. That includes 2 Whoppers, a cheeseburger, 3 small fries, 3 small drinks, and a custom OSU crown. Only at Burger King, where you rule. And welcome back, everybody, along with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Let's head down to Texas right now. Joined for a few minutes by Tim May of Letterman Row. And Tim, thank you for your time. We've talked about it the last couple of weeks. We knew the potential of this Ohio State offense, but what has been the most impressive thing to you from that unit the past 2 games? And boy, if they execute like that, can anyone slow them down?
Yeah, bottom line is the execution. I mean, a hot start, and, we've talked about this before many times, right? And they always want a hot start, but sometimes it doesn't happen. But what really jumped out to me in their Rose Bowl, man, first play out of the gate, you haven't seen that play before this year. I've been waiting for them to run something out of that wide screen look down the field, and they did to G. Scott Jr. And then 2 plays later, they run a play I haven't seen all year, and Jeremiah Smith scores. bingo bongo, right? I mean, you keep being creative against teams zeroed in on one look, and you show them something different. You can go places. That's going to be a key again Friday night to try to come up with something, that Texas hasn't seen before. But then when you get it, execute it. It's funny because I was just over talking to some of the Texas players and coaches just a few minutes ago, and they have great respect for Ohio State, but they know why they're in this game too. So, I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup.
Unlike the Michigan game, these last two playoff games, it's been pass first, run second, and it seems to complement what this team does best. Throwing the football to Jeremiah Smith and the other guys get involved, and let him grab some coverage and work around that. And still, even if he's double coverage, we saw he can make plays. But the pass to set up the run, it seems the way it's working for Ohio State.
Absolutely, and Jim, we've been saying that all year. The true strength of this team is its wide receiver core and even tight ends and running backs, and get the ball in their hands in places where people aren't, necessarily accustomed to seeing them getting the ball in their hands, or throw the ball down the field and let them create their own mismatches. And you've seen that happen right before your eyes with Jeremiah Smith. There's, just talking with Pete Kwiatkowski and some of the defensive players for Texas just a minute ago, and great respect they have for number 4 and the entire receiving core. Emeka Egbuka, no one's sleeping on him. And so do what you do best. Don't slam your head against a brick wall. We talked about that, but, it looks like all of our talking about it, somebody finally heard us, huh?
Exactly. What's your thoughts on this reworked offensive line and how they've progressed in their current form, Tim?
I don't think it could have played much better than it has the last 2 games, Paul. That was supposed to be the best defensive line across the board in the Southeastern Conference for Tennessee, and they handled business, and they handled it in a different way instead of running right at them. A little slash action, a little angle action to the edges, and set guys off. And here's the thing: the reason I agree with Ryan Day on a lot of stuff, but I definitely agree with him. You've got to try to run the ball because if you do, it pays dividends down the road. And boom, 66 yards later, there's Travion Henderson with a true back-breaking touchdown in the Rose Bowl off some really great blocking on the edges. I'm not telling you something you guys did see with your own eyes, but that was a beautiful play, and it was as impressive as anything else they scored on that day. And but what our problem was in the Michigan game was they were running right at the strength of Michigan's whole team, not just its defense, and never seemed to learn the lesson until it was too late. But, hey, you know what? The great thing about modern college football is you got a whole second chance, 4 games to make everything right.
Tim, Travion Henderson, a little bit underappreciated, I think, in his career at Ohio State. When you look at the records, 47 touchdowns. He just passed Eddie George. Eddie had 45. He's got 45. He's 98 yards from, having more yards rushing than Eddie George. He's top 5 in that category. When we look back at Travion Henderson, I think he's unselfish. He's got a guy like Quinshon Judkins coming in, and he bought in 100% that we're going to share this load, and they have. And actually, Quinshon's has 50 more carries almost than he has. But I just appreciate so much what he's been able to bring to this Ohio State football team, and I think that's why his people have so much respect for him in that offense.
What's funny, Jim, is back when they lost to Michigan, I even wrote a story about this a little bit. This is going to appear on LettermanRow.com about people making fun of the religious component on this team, which is quite stout. And the thing about it is, when you do find something to lean on in your life other than how good you are in football, it makes a heck of a difference in the rest of your life. But it also makes a heck of a difference in football. The way that Travion and Quinshon have both unselfishly approached this situation has made both of them better, and both of them more effective for Ohio State as a duo than as a solo act. And yes, I think Travion is a little underappreciated, but hey, he's getting there with his numbers that you just pointed out. he's had a pretty damn good career.
Tim May, Letterman Row. Tim, we always appreciate your insight. You keep that snow out of Dallas, okay?
Dude, it is so nice here today.
I know. I
can't believe what y'all are walking into tomorrow.
We'll bring it with us. Tim, we'll see you down there when we get down there. Appreciate your time as always. Up next, hour 2 of our bowl preview show. The first of the 2 CFP semis is tomorrow. We'll get a Penn State Notre Dame look ahead with Steve Jones of the Penn State Radio Network, Adam Rittenberg from ESPN.com. Also, Bill Rabinowitz of the Columbus Dispatch will swing by. All that and more. Hour number 2 of our bowl preview show on the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
The gridiron isn't the only place Buckeye fans watch points pile up. They score the perks of game day at Giant Eagle and Market District 2. Ready-to-eat prepared foods, everyday value from our family of brands, a fresh selection that thrills every foodie, fuel savings, and convenient favorites are all game day traditions. Earn perks and save on game day and every day at Giant Eagle and Market District. Giant Eagle, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
We have acres of brand new Chevys, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, and Ram vehicles, as well as used cars and trucks that you're looking for at the Jeff Weiler Columbus Auto Mall in Canal Winchester. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we can find it at one of our 23 other locations. So come shop the lot or view over 2,000 cars right at your fingertips at JeffWeilerColumbusAutomall.com. Plus, use Weiler Direct to see monthly payments, value your trade, and get pre-approved. Rooted in family, driven by you.
They're trained. They're prepared.
Let's do it.
They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
What do football and finances have in common? The team you play with makes a big difference. Credit Union of Ohio is your financial team to help you save and spend like a winner. Whether you're looking to make a big purchase or find ways to build up your savings, you'll always work with a team player at Credit Union of Ohio. Navigate your next big money play easily through Credit Union of Ohio's website at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
From the first one born in the USA to the tens of millions that followed, from the American highways to the NASCAR race days, more people have counted on their Camrys than any other car for over 22 years. And now, Camry is even better. It's all hybrid all the time to be more efficient yet powerful, with available all-wheel drive for the capability to go wherever you want to go in style and comfort. For the latest offers, go to Toyota.com and make your own history. Toyota, let's go places.
Cheers to a great day and this ice-cold Corona.
You know what would make this day even better? My grandma's carne asada.
Or your grandma here with us, making carne asada.
She does love a cold Corona.
Throw in some dancing.
Oh, we can watch the game.
I'll drink to that.
So a backyard concert with football, food, dancing, and Corona?
And your grandma.
Or we could keep it simple.
Simple is good. Want a Corona?
Thanks. Salud to the perfect day.
Corona, la vida más fina. Get your Corona at ordercorona.com. Relax responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Import, Chicago, Illinois.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good evening. I'm Buddy Wells. We're just a little over 24 hours away from the semifinals of the college football playoffs getting started. Tomorrow night, Notre Dame meets Penn State in Miami as the Fighting Irish and Nittany Lions meet in the Orange Bowl. And then on Friday night, it's Ohio State against Texas as the Buckeyes and Longhorns will square off in the Cotton Bowl. Both of those games will kick off at 7:30. The winners advance to the national championship. Women's college basketball tonight. It's a top 25 matchup in Ann Arbor as number 9 Ohio State is on the road against number 25 Michigan. They're set to tip off right about now here at 7 o'clock. Matt Andrews has the call for you over on ESPN Columbus. In men's college basketball, Ohio State is at home tomorrow night against number 15 Oregon. Tip-off is at 6. Our fan coverage gets started at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And the two best teams in the NBA meet in Cleveland tonight as the Cavaliers host the Thunder. They're just about to tip off right now up in Cleveland. Breaking sports news. What happens on the Fan? Ohio's sports destination.
Hey, Buckeye fans. Union Home Mortgage's 1% down payment program is like kicking an extra point or scoring a 2-point conversion. You put 1% down, and Union Home Mortgage will kick in up to 2% on the house. Visit UHM.com or call 877-846-4968 today. Union Home Mortgage Corp is an equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 2229. UHM will contribute up to 2% down, no greater than $2,000 towards the 3% down payment. Home buyers responsible for the remainder of the down payment. This offer is available for the purchase of a primary residence only. For full terms and conditions, visit UHM.com.
The gridiron isn't the only place Buckeye fans watch points pile up. They score the perks of game day at Giant Eagle and Market District 2. Ready-to-eat prepared foods, everyday value from our family of brands, a fresh selection that thrills every foodie, fuel savings, and convenient favorites are all game day traditions. Earn perks and save on game day and every day at Giant Eagle and Market District. Giant Eagle, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
You're listening to the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into our bowl preview show, hour number 2. We are presented by Roosters and by Burger King with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Our thanks to Encova Insurance for once again sponsoring our Archie Griffin High School Athlete of the Week award on each Buckeye Roundtable show throughout the season. Encova Insurance for auto and home, encircling you with solutions you can trust. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Again, it's Ohio State and Texas coming up Friday night in the Cotton Bowl. Biggest thing you're looking forward to seeing Friday night, Paul, is what?
Now that he brought it up, the coin toss. Since Craig Way brought it up, with the way these teams have both exploded at the start of the games, could that affect the common thinking? Because we've seen most teams, and in particular Ohio State and Ryan Day, they win the toss, they've wanted to defer.
Well, I think Coach Day talked about it in his press conference. We heard his comments. They're the middle 8. And to control that middle 8, you like to have the ball to start that second half. Even though they've started so fast, now your defense has to go out there and start fast, get a 3 and out. Then you can go ahead and start fast. So I got a feeling if they do win the coin toss, that they would defer. But that's just my feeling right now because, like you said, I mean, they've lost the last 2 and it hadn't mattered.
How about beyond the coin toss, as far as just the game itself that you're most interested to see about Texas?
How well their defense can play. With the stats that you've looked at, the things they've done, getting all those turnovers and all of that, can Ohio State's offense have the kind of success against this defense that they had against both Tennessee and against Oregon and have it early?
Yeah, and then, Texas, as you mentioned earlier, they had 30 rush attempts for 53 yards last game. How are they going to ignite their rushing attack? Would that be Arch Manning coming in, in a quarterback?
Who did not play in the last game.
And he's only had 114 snaps on the year. Quinn Ewers has had 458, so, 4-1 basically on the snaps. So they've, really leaned on Quinn Ewers, and why not? He's had a heck of a year. But you thought that Arch was going to play more, especially how much he played early on. But, there's going to be some kind of, curveball they're going to throw at us. And, you got to think maybe Arch Manning trying to run the football might be one that gets that rushing attack ignited.
Yeah, because that's kind of how they've utilized him in certain rushing situations.
Yeah.
Not, a little bit of red zone, a little bit of goal line situations.
Right.
The other CFP semi is tomorrow night down in Miami between Penn State and Notre Dame. We're trying to get Steve Jones on the line here, but the thing you're most curious about that game and that matchup tomorrow night is what?
If Penn State can continue to play at the level that they have, we talked about it after Ohio State beat them. They didn't have a hangover after that game. They ticked off everything else through the course of the regular season they needed to. And then when they got behind big against Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, they made a late push to make a game out of that. Can they continue to play that way? And remember, their offense at times was assisted by Bo Pribula, their backup quarterback in running situations. He's gone now. He's in the portal. And interested to see if Drew Aller can continue, because he's played better. Can he continue to play better?
Yeah, if Drew Aller gets knocked out of series or a play or two, it's going to be Ethan Grunkemeyer, from Lewis Center. A local guy here would have to come in and play for him and, really hasn't had a whole lot of playing time all year. You got to think Penn State's game plan is going to be the same. Lean on those two backs. Singleton and Allen both had over 100 yards last ball game. And then, of course, throwing it to Warren, their tight end.
Or him throwing it.
Yeah, Tyler Warren, you're going to have to find a way to kind of keep him in check. And, I'm sure they're studying Ohio State's film because that was, one game where they were able to kind of slow him down a little bit. But you got to shut down those two other backs before you can even worry about shutting down Tyler Warren.
Steve Jones of the Penn State Radio Network joins us right now. Again, it is Penn State and Notre Dame tomorrow night in the Orange Bowl. And Steve, quite a performance from Penn State the first two playoff games. You've seen it all year, but what's been the most impressive thing you've taken away from the Lions' last two games?
Consistency and the fact that they've been able to run the football, Skip. The last four games, Penn State's had better than 200 yards rushing in each of the four games. Remember, SMU was one of the top in the country when it comes to rush defense at 95 yards a game. Penn State had over 200. 115 yards a game from the Boise State defense. Penn State had over 200. They had 292 against Oregon. So they've been able to run the ball, and they've been playing great defense. And you guys, the three of you know that if you can play really good defense and you can run the football, you can play in any stadium and in any condition because all that stuff travels.
Oh, great one. Two questions. Did you pull the plunger on the old press box going down? And secondly, did you like what you saw from the defense, how they had to operate without Abdul Carter for most of the game the other day?
First of all, Wise, when I tried to get a 2-for-1 where they got the Jordan Center 2.
Oh, we'd help with that.
right. But they actually had the Nittany Lion do it. But I had to count it down. I mean, I have to admit it was a nice, smooth operation. And Chris Wheeler, who did the Phillies for 37 years, texted me and he said, "Did you feel about the press box going down the same way I felt when the bet went down?" He said, "No emotion." He said, "Yes, pretty much." Now, the other part of your question, without Abdul Carter, this is where you have a veteran, Amin Vanover, who can step in and make plays, and he probably played the best game of his career, Paul. And that's exactly what they needed from him at that moment when Carter got hurt. You always need somebody to step up and make plays. And we've seen that with Ohio State all year as to how they've played. And that happened with Vanover in this game because the depth at this time of the year really pays off because this is a grind, as we know.
I've had a lot of good memories in that press box. I'm sad to see it go, actually. The Buckeyes have been able to do all right there at Penn State. Drew Aller, obviously, he's having a heck of a year. You lost your backup and went into the transfer portal. How big of a concern is that if something would happen to Drew about Ethan? I'm sure it's Ethan Grunkemeyer would be the next guy in.
It would be, Jim. And that, let's face it, you're right about that because when Drew Aller got hurt against Wisconsin, Bo Pribula stepped in the second half, and Penn State was down 3 at halftime, and he really played well. He was 11 of 15. He was able to throw a touchdown pass, and you knew you could count on him. Plus, it was another package in the offense that they had because they could mix him in maybe 7 to 9 plays a game. So they've had to adjust to that, but they've had time to adjust to it because they've been able to play the playoff without him to this point. Aller, to his credit, has been, like Will Howard, very durable to this point. It's been important that he's been durable, and everybody knows at this point that it really rests on his right arm, his right shoulder as to what they do. And if they had to go to somebody else, the running game would really have to somehow come to the front and really take over.
Steve, how big can you say that it is? Obviously it is, that after the 2 losses Penn State had, they didn't let it linger into the next games.
Paul, you know what? When they lost that game to Ohio State, that was a terrific game, and Ohio State played so well. I had said in the post-game show, I said, look, Penn State's now in a 4-game playoff to make the playoff. Well, they won all 4 games. So when they had that kind of pressure on them, they responded and played really good football. Lost the championship game to Oregon, but they rang up 515 yards in offense in that game and 292 rushing. So they scored 37, 38 points in that game. You kind of walked out of there feeling a lot better about the direction they were going in despite what Tez Johnson was able to do. And now they've had these 2 games back-to-back where, fortunately for them, they have not trailed a single second in either game. And I think that 4-game run in November where the pressure was on to win every single game has really benefited this team now.
You went against Boise State. You had SMU the first week. Boise State, I thought you guys did a great job on Genty. He's a heck of a back, and, they tried to get him gone, but you weren't going to let it happen. I guess the same type of thing against Notre Dame. Their passing attack is just, mediocre, so to speak, but they can run the football. You're going to have to stop the run again.
Yeah, you're right about that, Jim, because when you look at them, Love, I know he got banged up again in the Georgia game and did not return. I expect him to play tomorrow night. Price is a really good back as well, but it's the quarterback that's different compared to Boise State. Boise State's quarterback could selectively run, right, and is not a bad thrower. Leonard's a better version of that. I mean, he's a bigger, more powerful, he's a big-time competitor. 15 rushing touchdowns this year, over 700 yards. I would guess they run him maybe 7 to 9 times a game, you know, and he's the guy that they turn to in short yardage to make plays. So you're going to have to be stout against the run because, to be honest with you, the passing game for Notre Dame is good. It's not great. They don't have what you would call a threatening receiver out there. I think the tight end Evans is really good. But I think it really comes down, can you stop the running game? But above all, you cannot turn the ball over against this team. They thrive on it. They have 31 takeaways this year. The 2 big ones they had against Georgia were huge. They've scored 158 points off of takeaways. And when they played Georgia, their longest drive offensively was only 42 yards.
Steve, last thing, 20th meeting, I want to say, between Penn State and Notre Dame, but the first since 2007. Just the intrigue of these 2 historic programs matching up like this again, especially with what's at stake.
Well, you know, they were the 2 great independents for such a long time before Penn State joined the Big Ten. And they finally got together in what turned out to be a 12-year series. It was supposed to be 14. But it was a 12-game series, and that really entrenched the Penn State-Notre Dame rivalry in that time from 1981 up through 1992. And so for fans, I know they played again in 6 and 7, but it brings back memories of that because at that point, those were the 2 great independents in college football. Well, Notre Dame is still independent in football, and Penn State's fortunate it's part of the Big Ten.
Steve Jones, you know we always appreciate your time. You know we'll be rooting for you, and I tell you what, how cool would it be to see Penn State-Ohio State rematch number 2?
Skip, I'll tell everybody out there, no uncertain terms. I know on Friday night I know who I'm rooting for, and I'm rooting for the team that you guys broadcast for.
Steve Jones, Penn State Radio Network. Steve, we always appreciate your time. Have a good broadcast tomorrow night, okay?
Skip, Paul, Jim, always a pleasure. You're the best.
As are you, Steve Jones. We appreciate your time. Up next, we'll get a little national perspective on these 2 semifinal games with Adam Rittenberg from ESPN. That is next as tonight's Buckeye Roundtable show. Actually, it is the Cotton Bowl preview show continues.
Ready? This hour of our bowl preview show is presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Coors Light presents To Chill or Not to Chill. When your friend skips your favorite song on the playlist. End of friendship. Or choose chill because that song lives rent-free in your head anyway. And you're planned ahead by bringing Coors Light to the party. And the sound of that ice-cold can cracking open was music to your ears already. Coors Light. Choose chill. Celebrate responsibly. 2024 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
Ready?
It doesn't matter if you're playing hard or working hard. Your workout only works out if you recover right. Chocolate milk helps you recover for what comes next. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles. From biking to bench presses, Milk's protein helps you build lean muscle and gain more from your workouts.
Ready? Recover. Repeat. Brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast, a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
When you're here, you understand what it means to be a Buckeye. And at Elk & Elk, we're proud to wear scarlet and gray every Saturday. Every client, every day, means if you're ever injured, we're proud to stand with you in court. And when you're here at the shoe, we're proud to stand with you and cheer on the Buckeyes.
Whether we're here at the big game or in court, we are committed to you.
Elk & Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
We have acres of brand new Chevys, Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges, and Ram vehicles, as well as used cars and trucks that you're looking for at the Jupweiler Columbus Auto Mall in Canal Winchester. And if we don't have what you're looking for, we can find it at one of our 23 other locations. So come shop the lot or view over 2,000 cars right at your fingertips at JeffWeilerColumbusAutomall.com. Plus, use Weiler Direct to see monthly payments, value your trade, and get pre-approved. Rooted in family, driven by you.
For 100 years, our passion at Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
Your home of the Buckeyes, the Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's Bowl Preview Show, presented by Roosters and by Burger King with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Our thanks to the American Dairy Association Mideast for sponsoring our top high school performances around the state during each of our Buckeye Roundtable shows. A reminder that chocolate milk has 8 grams of protein to fuel everyone, including Ohio State offensive lineman Donovan Jackson. He's built like a Buckeye, and you can be too. Visit ohiostatebuckeyes.com/built like a Buckeye to learn more. And welcome back, everyone. Ohio State and Texas coming up Friday night in the Cotton Bowl. We're joined for a few minutes now by Adam Rittenberg of ESPN. And Adam, we'll get into the individual matchups, our game plus Penn State and Notre Dame in just a moment. But what's the most telling thing about the CFP as we look at this Final Four with no conference champions and no teams with a first-round bye?
Right, yeah, part of that, I think, is just due to the seeding. And a couple of those matchups in the quarterfinals, you had I think better teams that were taking on conference champions, and they kind of took care of business in those games, including Penn State, the team that I'll see down here in South Florida tomorrow night. But, I think it's a combination of, are you hot at the right time, like Ohio State, for maximizing your talent level? I think all 4 teams play really good defense. That's one theme that's emerged. And really all 4 can run the ball with multiple players. This is not an elite quadrant of quarterbacks. They're all good players, but we've seen a lot better around college football in recent years. But all 4 teams have the ability to either run the ball with multiple backs, or in Notre Dame's case, use the quarterback as a runner. Obviously, Will Howard's been pretty good in that respect as well.
Adam, with Penn State and what they've done and where they are, has that changed a little bit of some of the thinking about James Franklin and what he's done and potentially what he could do with that program if they're able to get a victory tomorrow night?
Well, I think that's going to be the key, because if they lose to Notre Dame, I think it's going to reinforce that perception that, in the games where the talent level is relatively similar, he can't get it done. I don't think that's necessarily fair. He should get credit for winning 2 playoff games, the first 2 playoff games in Penn State history, getting to the Big Ten championship game. But, with the loss to Oregon, the loss to Ohio State, and then, potentially a loss to Notre Dame, I think some people are still going to wonder, can he win the big one when, all things are relatively equal? So that's going to be something that follows James fairly or unfairly until he starts winning some of these games. Why it's so important. I mean, Marcus Freeman, even though Marcus is a lot younger than James Franklin as a head coach and as a person, he's won more of these types of games already than James has at Penn State.
Look at the Big Ten success throughout this bowl season. They got to feel awful good about themselves comparably. When you look at the SEC, Illinois beating South Carolina, Michigan beating Alabama. Ohio State has an opportunity maybe to beat Texas. They got to be feeling pretty good over there in Chicago right now.
Yeah, and I've been through, and the league has been through a lot of really rough postseasons where, especially on January 1st, where the losses would really pile up. So this year it's been different. I mean, Iowa, if they're able to finish off Missouri, it's a perfect record against the SEC. And so, I think the Big Ten is an improving conference. The fact that you have multiple teams now that have won the national championship in recent memory, it wasn't just on Ohio State's shoulders. Oregon's been a team that's, even though they lost to Ohio State, was the number 1 team for really all season, the only team to go undefeated in the regular season and a really good addition to the conference and one that made an impact right away. So, I think the Big Ten is in very, very good position, especially, with NIL and the portal. You look at what Oregon is doing. You look at what some of the other programs are doing in the conference to add to their rosters and the investment that's being made around the conference. There was always money in this league. I don't know if it was always being directed towards being great in football. I think that started to change here in recent years, and you're seeing the results.
Briefly off the topic of the playoffs, Adam, what did you make of North Carolina hiring Bill Belichick?
Well, I think it's an interesting move, to say the least. Not one that a lot of us expected going into the cycle, but I think schools are especially trustees and people that are on those boards. You'll love the idea of the splash hire. Love the idea that everyone is looking at our school and we're going to get this type of attention. And it's Bill Belichick. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, football coach of all time in terms of Super Bowls, and they think that he can, adjust to the realities and just the landscape in college, which obviously is very, very different than when he was around the sport. But he's followed college football, obviously understands how to win, personnel. It's just going to be a really interesting experiment because it's not like North Carolina was down. It wasn't like they were where Colorado was when Deion Sanders came in. They're making bowl games in a conference where they can elevate a little bit. We'll see how much he can elevate, and then maybe more importantly, how long he'll actually be there.
If Jeremiah Smith continues on this pace he had this year, year 2, year 3, will they maybe change the award and name it after him? I mean, as a freshman, he won the Big Ten Receiver of the Year, and I'm telling you, he's just been unbelievable all year long. But just, the national perspective, how they're looking at Jeremiah Smith and what he's been able to do his first year with Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's an example, and maybe you guys can think of one, where a player emerged from his freshman year as the best at his position in the country and yet has at least 2 more years left at the college level. I don't know if I can remember anyone at any position that we felt that way about. He'll go into 2025 as a top Heisman Trophy contender, and then we know he'll be playing college football in 2026 unless they change the rules in the NFL. So he could really go down as one of the most accomplished Ohio State players, accomplished receivers, and overall players that we've seen here. Just an amazing talent, and obviously I'm excited to see what he can do against a really talented Texas defense.
Adam Rittenberg, ESPN.com. Adam, we always appreciate your insight. Safe travels, okay?
All right, guys, enjoy the games. Thanks.
All right, up next, comments from Texas coach Steve Sarkisian as tonight's Cotton Bowl preview show continues.
Ready? This hour of our bowl preview show is presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Ohio State championship quarterback Cardale Jones.
As a child, I had the same hopes and dreams as other children. I just didn't have the same resources to achieve them, but I found the help I needed to be my best. I was a CareSource kid. CareSource is so much more than Medicaid. They help families overcome a lot of their day-to-day struggles, and that made a lasting difference in the lives of kids like me.
CareSource, your Medicaid, your choice. Visit caresource.com/Medicaid.
Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safelite Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at safelite.com. Safelite Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
At Kroger, an annual Boost membership just got even better. Now you can choose from Disney Plus with ads, Hulu with ads, or ESPN Plus on us when you sign up. Plus, enjoy unlimited free delivery, double fuel points, exclusive offers, and free items. Sign up for a Boost membership today. It's an easier way to save, including new streaming options to relax with while we deliver your groceries. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
When you're here, you understand what it means to be a Buckeye. And at Elk & Elk, we're proud to wear scarlet and gray every Saturday. Every client, every day, means if you're ever injured, we're proud to stand with you in court. And when you're here at the shoe, we're proud to stand with you and cheer on the Buckeyes.
Whether we're here at the big game or in court, we are committed to you.
Elk & Elk, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Get ready, Buckeye fans. Donato's just added something special to the pizza playbook. Introducing Donato's new Block O pizza. Donato's golden thin crust cut in that trademark Block O shape, loaded with crispy pepperoni, smoked provolone cheese, and Buckeye Spirit. It's the perfect pizza for game day or any day in Buckeye country. Now get a Block O pizza for just $10 with any pizza purchase. Order today with the Donato's app or at donatos.com.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. You're listening to the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's bowl preview show presented by Roosters and by Burger King with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Ohio State and Texas coming up Friday in the Cotton Bowl. Time for our Two Deep Report presented by Elk & Elk. And, Jim, we've talked about a lot the offensive line in this Two Deep, and they deserve to be talked about more, in my opinion, just the way they played. How's the depth, though, on that O-line if they need to move anybody else around for any reason?
Well, center would be the interesting position there, because Carson Hintzman has been the guy that's kind of moved from guard to center. I guess the next guy up would have to be Josh Padilla, and, not that he can't play. He's just waiting for an opportunity. But just we have some inexperience here. I think at tackle, again, you got Zen Mahalski, who's played a little bit in the past. He's healthy. He can move in there, although he is going to enter the transfer portal. And I think he's going to maybe go to Indiana.
Yes,
but he's still going to be out here throughout this, so he would be the backup at tackle. And then, you got three guards that can play there. But that center position, if something would happen to Carson Hintzman, that would be interesting there. On the defensive side of the ball, you're seeing a little bit more Jermaine Matthews playing some at cornerback, which has helped out this defense.
Our Two Deep was presented by Elk & Elk Injury Lawyers, dedicated to every client every day. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Again, Ohio State and Texas coming up Friday in the Cotton Bowl. We heard from Ryan Day last hour. Now here's some cuts from Texas coach Steve Sarkisian, coach, on preparing for those fast starts from Ohio State.
Well, I think it's probably credit to their coaching staff, first of all. Game planning, putting together a nice plan on offense, defense, and special teams, instilling that plan to the players, and the players playing with confidence. I think that's the one thing that jumps out when you watch it, is how confidently they're playing. They're definitely calling it aggressively, but the execution is at a really high level. So that's what jumps out at us.
And I tell you what, guys, any football coach that's going to face Ohio State right now, that's one of the first things that's going to jump out is those fast starts.
Yeah, I mean, you get in a big hole in a hurry, and that's what Ohio State's been able to do the first two games. Against Tennessee, they had them down 21-0. Oregon 34-0 before they were able to get on the board. That's such a big difference there, is to come out and start fast. And, again, there's a lot of combinations like the coach talked about. Players, you got to have players that can get it done, and then you got to have coaches call the plays to put those guys in position. And that's the best thing our staff has done in the last two games, is to find your playmakers and get them involved early on.
Paul, same sort of question. I mean, Texas is a team that's used to starting fast as well. We talked about that before, but with what Ohio State's done, nobody's done what Ohio State's done in the past couple.
No, not at all, and especially against this kind of defense. And, the thing that Ohio State's done is take care of the football, too. There were no turnovers against Oregon in the last game. So, that helps when it comes to stuff like that.
Sarkisian asked about which wide receiver that they're going to have to try to pick on.
I just hope we're good enough to guard them. I mean, these guys are really good players. We'll find out.
And that's one thing for sure. I mean, you just don't know, because it's you roll the dice a little bit. It's like pick your poison. We've been talking about it all year.
Well, and we've seen what G. Scott's done catching the football. Carnell Tate, with the way he's played on the back half of the season. Don't forget Brandon Ennis, who had that touchdown catch at Penn State. And the other thing that, certainly coaches know this, they have to take into equation, the backs catching the ball out of the backfield. And they didn't do a lot of that earlier in the season, but we've seen here in the postseason Travion Henderson catching balls coming out of the backfield.
Yeah, and they've gotten involved in the screen game a little bit there, to get him out there in some of those wheel routes. He's made some plays. Yeah, and you can't go to sleep on Carnell Tate. We saw that. I mean, he can step up and make plays, especially when, Northwestern game's fresh in mind, where he got 2 touchdowns in that game. But, if they're going to double Jeremiah, it's going to open up other guys. And, G. Scott's been playing at a high level right now, too. And, Kazmarek, I think he's, just waiting. He's been blocking awful hard, but he's got the ability to catch the ball, too, if he needs to be that guy to do it, if they take everything else away. But, you got to count on Jeremiah Smith and Emeka being your number one and number two guys that are going to try to get the ball to as many times as they can.
A little about his team, Coach Sarkisian, on the development of his quarterback, Quinn Ewers.
When he went to Ohio State early on, he should have still been a senior in high school, and when we got him back, he was still, in our eyes, a freshman at that time. And so there's been a lot of development, I would say physical development, but I would also probably say mental and emotional development to watch him grow into the leader that he's grown into for us. His ability to have the poise and composure he has, not only on the field, but off the field, to look into the face of adversity and come out on the other side of it time and time again, whether it be injuries, whatever that looks like, to be at his best when his best was needed. Similar to the Peach Bowl there at the end of the game and in overtime. So I think that's all from a seismic shift from maturity standpoint. Like I said, physically and mentally.
Last thing, Coach Sarkisian was asked about added pressure to win this football game being played in the Cotton Bowl.
I don't necessarily feel pressure upon that. When you take the head job here at the University of Texas, you got to know what you're signing up for. And there's an expectation and a standard here to compete and to win championships, compete for and win championships. And so you acknowledge it, you accept it, and you start charging forward. I think of this as more of a great opportunity to play in the Cotton Bowl and in the semifinals of the college football playoff against an unbelievable opponent in Ohio State. They've got a great fan base. They're going to travel. Their fans played against them in the Rose Bowl and different opportunities. So their fans travel really, really well. And so the challenge for us is to stay composed in that arena. The challenge for our fans is to show up, buy tickets, and support us so that we can make it as tough an environment as we can. Because, like I said, we're going to need all those factors in this game. This is the best team in college football, and we're going to have to make sure that we put our best forward to give ourselves a chance to win the game.
Texas has played in the Cotton Bowl a number of times. Obviously, this is unique for them being part of now the Southeast Conference.
Yeah, more than anybody that's played in it. Yeah, the old Southwest Conference. They used to joke, what that stood for. So you want a car? You want to think about pressure, and that's one of those jobs. Ask Charlie Strong, ask Tom Herman. They know how difficult it is if things don't go well there. And, Steve Sarkisian had a nice comeback around. He spent a little time in the Nick Saban rehab clinic down there in Tuscaloosa after his last head coaching stops. And, he's been able to maintain some consistency. We mentioned the only Power 4 program in the last 4 years that's had the same head coach, offensive and defensive coordinator. That goes a long way.
No, and having that continuity on your staff, you're exactly right. It goes a long way, especially, you have a lot of respect for Kyle Flood from what he can bring to that table. Although I still think Steve's probably calling the plays, you know what I mean, and dialing those up.
No question.
Because that's his in his DNA there. But, again, there's just so many things to look at in this game. And, we haven't talked about special teams. And that's something that's going to be key. Their kicker, Bert Auburn, has missed a couple.
He missed two that would have won them the game in the fourth quarter against Arizona State. And both of them, at least one of them, was inside 40 yards.
Coming up, we will head back down to Dallas and visit with Bill Rabinowitz of the Columbus Dispatch as tonight's Cotton Bowl preview show continues.
Ready? This hour of our bowl preview show is presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Ohio State championship quarterback Cardale Jones.
As a child, I had the same hopes and dreams as other children. I just didn't have the same resources to achieve them, but I found the help I needed to be my best. I was a CareSource kid. CareSource is so much more than Medicaid. They help families overcome a lot of their day-to-day struggles, and that made a lasting difference in the lives of kids like me.
CareSource, your Medicaid, your choice. Visit caresource.com/Medicaid.
Hey, Buckeye Nation, Paul Keels here for my other favorite nation, Window Nation. If you're a fan of scoring, you're going to love this. Window Nation is going nuts with an incredible offer just for you. Buy 2 windows, get 2 windows free plus 0 down and 0 payments with 0 interest for 2 years. And if you order a full house of windows, you'll be part of a full house at the Shoe with tickets to a Buckeye game. Call Window Nation today at 866-90-NATION or visit them online at windownation.com. Tell them Paul sent you for the Buckeyes Full House Special.
There's one medical team in Central Ohio skilled enough to care for your favorite Ohio State team, and Buckeyes everywhere. The Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center is your choice for the most highly specialized orthopedic and sports medicine care. Our surgeons, physicians, and physical therapists have access to the most advanced treatments and innovative recovery approaches to get you back in your game. Because on or off the field, our team is your team. The choice for your orthopedic care is clear.
When it comes to all-wheel drive vehicles, nobody gives you more to choose from than Toyota.
With 25 different choices that'll have you ready for anything, including the new all-hybrid best-selling Camry, the adventurous best-selling RAV4, the best-selling, more powerful Tacoma,
And the newest member of the Crown family, the Toyota Crown Signia.
all come with the traction you need for confident driving.
Any road, any weather. Toyota all-wheel drive.
The more you know, the more you'll drive Toyota.
Let's go places.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
They're trained. They're prepared. Let's do it. They're Ohio's undefeated plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling team. And they're here to tackle your problems. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Your Ohio State flagship station, The Fan. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Our bowl preview show is presented by Roosters as the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics and proud presenting sponsor of the Ryan Day Show. Roosters wants to say congratulations to Coach and the team for making it all the way to the Cotton Bowl, and thank you to all the loyal Buckeye fans who helped make Roosters a fun, casual joint. From everyone at Roosters, Happy New Year and go Bucks. Again, Ohio State and Texas Friday night in the Cotton Bowl, joined for a few minutes now by Bill Rabinowitz of the Columbus Dispatch. And Bill, just like everyone else, just amazed as far as what we've seen from the Ohio State offense the last couple of days. Is this kind of the race car that everybody was kind of hoping to see all season? And I guess what's impressed you the most about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good description. We kind of waited for an overpowering Ohio State team in the regular season, and we didn't really get it except for some glimpses. But they're cruising right now. The Tennessee game, and especially the Oregon game, I don't think anyone expected that kind of domination. If they play like that, I'm not sure anyone can touch them. But playing at that level is hard, and you got to do it again. And so we'll see on Friday whether they can.
You know, and you're seeing it from all 3 phases. You know, you're seeing our offense obviously start fast, but that didn't work unless your defense is getting the job done, and they've been getting the job done. Is this the last 2 games the best defensive performances you've seen out of this team all year long?
Yeah, no question, because of the competition. I mean, Tennessee's offense is okay, not great, but Oregon's obviously is. And for them to just shut Oregon down, sack Dylan Gabriel 8 times, shut down the running game entirely. Remember, they didn't even get turnovers, so turnovers weren't even a part of it. It was just domination. There were 3 and outs, and you look at really everybody on that defense, and you can point to a play or 2 or more that they really flashed. And so this is not a case where it's like Chase Young just taking over a game, or JT Tuimoloau against Penn State a couple of years ago. This was an entire team effort.
Bill, fans like to ask, are coaches holding things back? And that certainly doesn't seem to be what this is. Can you look at it as just kind of a development of how the season has gone, and in particular, reacting to how things didn't go against Michigan?
Yeah, I think so. But again, I'll even say, like, the first play to G. Scott, I hadn't seen that play all year, where they kind of had the tight end, run wild or run free, and then the touchdown pass to Jeremiah Smith, a little like wide receiver middle screen. It was just a little swing pass, but they had it so well blocked, and Jeremiah Smith just ran through guys. So there were some wrinkles for sure. But, yeah, I think it's more of a mindset where they just kind of – I think the Michigan game really cut to the core. And I think they realize, okay, this is who we are. We've got a makeshift offensive line. There's no point in trying to, like, just pound it up the middle. We've got playmakers. Let's get the ball to playmakers in space. Let them do what they do. And that's exactly what they've done in the first 2 playoff games.
Bill, I was really impressed with Denzel Burke, Davison Igmanoza, Jermaine Matthews got a few shots there at corner. Those guys locked it down. And, of course, Denzel Burke, after the first game, he was ready to come out there and play. Now you look at Denzel, this will be his 50th game, and he's going to have to play as well as ever again.
Wow, I didn't realize it was 50 games, but it makes sense. He started as a true freshman.
50 starts, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he only had one ball thrown to him, and it was interesting because he did not get beat on it. He was behind the receiver, and in fact, the ball was overthrown, or he would have probably intercepted it. So, I talked to him after the game, and he was just beaming. He was just smiling, grin ear to ear because he got redemption. And he gives only one play, but the fact that they only threw to him one time is a testament to the defense and the pass rush, and Oregon just couldn't do anything.
Bill, never to be one to suggest story material, but is Cody Simon a guy that gives you a lot of ammunition for a great story?
Did you know I was writing a Cody Simon story?
No, I did not. No, I did not.
Yeah, well, good ad free advertising. Yeah, I'm planning to write a Cody Simon story because here's a guy who's a 5th-year guy, and for 4 of those years was a backup. Now, last year they considered him kind of like the starter, but he was playing behind Tommy Eichenberg, and by all accounts, he's just a great guy. Jim Knowles said to some reporters after the Rose Bowl that he thinks he'll be president of the United States one day. They just gush about him. But he's playing now at a level. He's just raised his game. He was the defensive MVP in the Rose Bowl. I think he had 11 tackles, 2 sacks. He's playing not just like a leader, but a star. And you combine that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, 97 tackles, but the 7 sacks, that's a number that really jumps out to me on Cody Simon. I know Andy Katzmore had like 10 sacks his freshman year. I don't know if he duplicated that afterwards, but still, the amount of pressure he's been able to put on the quarterback and, kind of keeping them locked in after our defensive line, gets them boxed in. He's there to clean it up, and usually those are behind the line of scrimmage for sacks. That's what's been impressive to me about Cody Simon this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Andy's good in other aspects of the game. He's not just a blitzer. He's good. Mm-hmm. He made a tackle early in the game that just for a 3rd down stop, I think, and he's just been very, very impressive.
Speaking of impressive, Bill, you get to this stage, everybody's good. What's impressed you most about the Longhorns?
Well, they have a very good defense, and they've got physical, big defensive backs. Ohio State was able to pick on Oregon a little bit because they were smaller. They're fast, but they're smaller. Texas is bigger. They got a good defensive line. We know that Quinn Ewers can fling it. His fundamentals sometimes can be erratic, and I think if Ohio State can pressure him, that'll be good for the Buckeyes. But he can throw it, and they've got some game-breaking receivers. So Ohio State's going to have to be on their game. This is not going to be an easy one. If Ohio State doesn't bring their A game, that's going to be a dogfight.
Bill, last thing. I know there were some weather concerns for fans traveling tomorrow and Friday. I know the forecast has improved some. What's the latest down there?
Yeah, last I looked, it was supposed to be like 1 to 4 inches of snow with maybe some ice on top of that. And the ice is the thing that's scary because people down here are not used to it. They don't have the snow plows and the salt and all the stuff that we have in Columbus. That's it's going to be an ice rink, I think. And so I don't know how it's going to work. Hopefully it's not as bad as the forecast, and it seems to have shifted every time I've looked at it. So maybe the next time the reality won't be as bad as we're hearing. But yeah, I'm glad the game is Friday and not tomorrow because tomorrow probably will be a mess.
Not going to lie, Bill, I was hoping for a better report than that.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all good.
All right.
Bill Rabinowitz of the Columbus Dispatch. Bill, we always appreciate your time. We'll see you when we get down there, okay?
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
Again, Bill Rabinowitz of the Columbus. That forecast has changed so many times throughout the entire week, and they had people scrambling, trying to do this, trying to do that. At one point, they're talking like almost 8 inches of snow, and for down there, that would be just absolutely
it'd be crazy.
Horrible.
And people make fun of the forecast in Ohio or the lack of predictability with the forecast.
Yeah, and I'm seeing, like a couple days after we leave, it's going to be up into the 60s again and sunny. So, I mean, just hitting it right at the wrong time.
Mud.
Well, this bad weather's following us everywhere.
Well, at least the game's indoors.
I mean, we go to Huntington Beach, we don't see the sun the whole time. All it is fog. I mean, it was incredible.
All right, guys, the 2 hours have just flown by. We will wrap things up with some Chalk Talk as tonight's Cotton Bowl preview show continues.
Ready? This hour of our bowl preview show is presented by Roosters on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Ohio State championship quarterback Cardale Jones.
As a child, I had the same hopes and dreams as other children. I just didn't have the same resources to achieve them, but I found the help I needed to be my best. I was a CareSource kid. CareSource is so much more than Medicaid. They help families overcome a lot of their day-to-day struggles, and that made a lasting difference in the lives of kids like me.
CareSource, your Medicaid, your choice. Visit caresource.com/Medicaid.
It's time to deck those halls, and if you're getting ready for those high-stakes holiday meals, Bob's Discount Furniture can help. Be the host with the most this season when you shop your choice of the latest party-ready dining sets in multiple heights, finishes, and styles for just $5.99. So stop by or visit mybobs.com and holiday the Bob's Way, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hey, Ohio State fan, are you ready for game day? Get hyped and get your crew going with the Buckeye Meal at BK. For $20, you'll get one juicy flame grilled Whopper sandwich, one original chicken sandwich, 2 mouthwatering cheeseburgers, 3 crispy golden small fries, and 3 refreshing small drinks. Grab your $20 Buckeye Meal today and share the taste of victory. At BK, have it your way. You rule. Limited time only at participating Ohio area restaurants. Tax extra. BK is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance is prepared for what's next and protects what matters most to you. With independent insurance agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova Insurance is an easy win for your peace of mind. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint with their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizzas, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen, and so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint, and the official wing sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
The Gridiron isn't the only place Buckeye fans watch points pile up. They score the perks of game day at Giant Eagle and Market District 2. Ready-to-eat prepared foods, everyday value from our family of brands, a fresh selection that thrills every foodie, fuel savings, and convenient favorites are all game day traditions. Earn perks and save on game day and every day at Giant Eagle and Market District. Giant Eagle, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Welcome back, everybody, into tonight's bowl preview show. We're presented by Roosters and by Burger King with Jim Lachey and Paul Keels. I'm Skip Mosic. Union Home Mortgage is the official lending sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Learn about their 1% down payment program at uhm.com. Union Home Mortgage, equal housing lender, NMLS number 2229. Again, Ohio State and Texas in the Cotton Bowl Friday night in Arlington. And guys, we always wrap up our roundtable shows. Let's do this here tonight. Our delivery of the game. Who needs to deliver from Ohio State for the Buckeyes to get the win?
Offense to continue to deliver the way they have against Tennessee and against Oregon.
Yeah, I'm going to say Will Howard. Will Howard gone against Texas at Kansas State, hadn't been successful. Now he's driving a different car. He's got some, more shiny tools to work with, and he's going to have to continue to play air-free. These last 2 games, he's thrown over 300 yards. He only had one of those 300-yard games in the regular season. So if he continues to play at the level he has been playing these last 2 games, that's going to be key for Ohio State, and he's going to have to deliver.
Along those lines, fast starts are always the goal. Can Ohio State replicate what they've done the last 2 games?
It's hard to think that they could do it at that same level, Skip, given how good statistically the defense is for Texas. But if they do, take it and run.
I mean, all these defenses are good. These Final Four teams, Ohio State's number 1, Texas is number 3, so boom, they're all going to be good. But, yeah, that's going to be the key. If and again, it's just executing at a high level. It's going to be key to that offensive line. They played lights out these last 2 games, and that's, going against some new talent, some bigger guys. And, are they better than what we saw at Oregon? I don't know. Derek Harmon's a pretty good football player. It's hard to find a better defensive tackle in college football than what Derek Harmon was. Jordan Birch, we heard a lot about him. He didn't do anything in that game against Josh Fryer and Donovan Jackson. So, these guys are going to have to play at a high level. If they play at a high level, it's going to give us a great chance to start fast.
Biggest challenge Texas poses is what?
Playmaking, especially if Quinn Ewers is on target throwing the deep ball. They've got a talented group of receivers and a tight end in Gunnar Helm, who's kind of a safety blanket for Quinn Ewers. So being able to stop them from stretching the field by throwing the ball deep.
Yeah, I think I'll go with that defensive line. They're linebackers too. They're all stout inside, so it's going to be key for our offensive line, our guys, to be able to control the line of scrimmage, and then, continue with that counter scheme. We only ran it 10% during the regular. 10% of our plays were countered during the regular season. In the postseason, that counter scheme's been up to 50%. It's working. Stay with it. And there's so many variables you can run off it. It's the same stuff we ran with the Washington Redskins, and Joe Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls with the counter gap scheme. Keep that up. Keep running it and keep evolving it, adding new schemes and new little tricks and things to it, because it's very, very effective.
Both coaches have said they want to run the football in this game. How critical will that be? And has Ohio State's fast starts with the passing game helped them in that regard?
No question it has. And I think, and Jim talked about it earlier, about Travion Henderson, how fresh he looked. And, the key with both he and the wide receivers, too, making the first defender miss. We've seen them do that a lot. It'll be key for Texas because of the fact they did not run it bless whoever. They did not run it very well against Arizona State.
I think it's going to be key. You got to be able to mix it up, but still go out there throwing around the football, because that's what's opened up that running game for Ohio State is loosening them up in the secondary, getting that extra head out of the box, and then being able to get outside, run those counters. And then, don't be afraid to throw the ball to our backs every once in a while. If they cover down the field, if they're trying to scheme up to stop Jeremiah Smith down the field, it's good. Not everybody's going to be able to be open, but if you can find a running back, and Quinn Sean and Travion have been pretty good when they get the ball out there in the flats.
We mentioned Ohio State is 3-1 at AT&T Stadium. Doesn't really mean anything, but is it cool for the players, I guess, to play at an NFL stadium, or does it matter?
I think they've done it enough at this point. At least most of them have. But
Ohio Stadium's nicer than a lot of NFL stadiums.
It certainly is. But also, we haven't mentioned the fact that this is the season opener next year. Texas and Columbus to take on Ohio State. So, but it is cool, and certainly this new playoff world and taking these new steps, and the whole approach, how it's being looked at, is like a regular season road trip, just a day extra.
When I was in college, the only pro stadium we got to play in was in Minnesota, the old Hubert Humphrey Dome, and that was pretty cool because the locker rooms were a lot better than what we're accustomed to. And
that's cool because Ohio State never lost in the Dome, too.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's the case here at AT&T Stadium. But yeah, I mean, there's some nice things to it. I mean, the scoreboard, the huge, the TVs that are all lining that's kind of fun to look up. They're like 30 yards long. I mean, it's just a huge monitor, so to speak, so you can kind of watch every play. They don't even need those iPads to go through.
It's like
an
alien takeover is what it is.
It is. No, but it is. I think it is exciting for these guys to play in a pro stadium, and it's only exciting if you win. It wasn't exciting last year.
Special teams, how key will those be? And I guess your confidence level if a game like this comes down to a kick, just like the last time Ohio State reached this stage.
Well, the great part is the fact that we've seen Jaden Fielding now in 2 games get back on the beam after he had missed a couple of field goals in the Michigan game. Bert Auburn, on the other hand, he had 2 chances in the fourth quarter to win the game for Texas in regulation and not let it get to overtime. Now, he's also got some Texas kicking records, but we've seen Ohio State be able to get things right there. And also, Texas returned a punt for a touchdown in the last game. Silas Bolden, wasn't Bolden, I forget who it was, but returned a punt against Arizona State. Ohio State, we kept hearing all this. They got close. Finally, we saw Caleb Downs return one against Indiana. But you got to like the thought of where Jaden Fielding's head is right now.
Well, kicking inside, too. Kicking in the dome. I mean, you don't have to worry about wind. You don't have to worry about things like that. So that ought to help the kicking game. Punting game has been pretty good for Ohio State. Fortunately, we haven't had to punt a whole lot, but Joe McGuire's done a good job. And don't forget about old John Furman. He's done a good job delivering those snaps each and every time. Mostly because we haven't had to bring up his name. So he's doing a good job with it.
It was Silas Bolden who returned.
I never doubt Keels.
No, you should.
For fans that are going, we know the weather won't be great, but a lot of good eating establishments and whatnot for the fans that are going down there for the Cotton Bowl.
What was that place, Mamacita's?
It was good.
It was very good.
I couldn't tell anybody where it was. I could find it, but I don't no idea to say where exactly.
Well, we don't want too many people to find out about it.
It's not much bigger than this room. But
Joe Garcia's in Fort Worth. If it's still there, that's Joe Garcia's is place. They don't have a menu. You just have 2 items. You have to choose between 2.
We've been to places like that before, too.
Dreamland.
Down in Alabama. Jim Lachey, thanks for coming down here tonight. Great job as always. Same for you, Big Daddy.
All right.
Join us again Friday night for Ohio State and Texas. We'll be on the air from Arlington beginning at 6 p.m. Our Bowl Preview Show has been presented by Burger King and by Roosters and brought to you statewide by Encova Insurance, the American Dairy Association Mideast, Window Nation, and by your Central Ohio Toyota dealers. For Bodie Wells and for Jim Lachey and Paul Keels, I'm Skip Mosic. As always, thanks for listening. This is the Ohio State Sports Network, presented by the Ohio State Wexner Medical Center, the team physicians for Ohio State Athletics.
Get your seat in the shot to watch Ohio State men's ice hockey Friday, January 10th and Saturday, January 11th. Join the Buckeyes as they take on Minnesota. Make sure to bring your skates to the game on Saturday to take part in a post-game skate with the team. Buy your tickets at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
Bands are us when dreams sunk in. Bands are us. No more mess, no more fuss. Transform your bathroom by Bands R Us. Immerse yourself in luxury. So fresh and so clean. Your personal oasis just as you dream. Bands R Us. When dreams sunk in. Bands are.
Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsrus.com.
We're dealing at Reichert Ford. Hundreds of Fords in stock and priced to sell fast. With our lowest prices and 72-hour exchange policy, you can't buy the wrong car. Thousands of vehicles are waiting at ReichertFord.com. Get the right car at Reichert. We're dealing.
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
People can't say enough amazing things about Vanscoy Hair Clinics. Men and women struggle with hair loss every day, and they completely change their lives. Vanscoy Hair Clinics is the only company in Ohio that has PRP, platelet-rich plasma, and a multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant procedure. Go to vanscoyhair.com for more info, or call 614-432-8042. Here's what some of their hair transplant clients have said.
Around 26, 27, I lost almost all of my hair on top. It changed my life in ways that I could not imagine.
My hair is going to continue growing for the rest of my life.
There is hope that you can do something about your hair loss.
Multi-unit hair grafting gives you 3 times more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Hair transplants are more affordable than ever, and PRP is a fast, easy, and effective 45-minute treatment for thinning or damaged hair. Call Vanscoy for a free consultation, 614-432-8042, or visit vanscoyhair.com. That's 614-432-8042. Find out what procedure will restore your hair.
The new year is here. Time for change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand fields of IT, cybersecurity, and AI with My Computer Career in just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available to the